Our product's ready to take off, and so we're going to market. We've done the research, we validated our assumptions, and we got some money to spend. So what are the kinds of things we should be looking for? Odds are you're going to be going into some market that's not defined. It could be constantly shifting and you're going to have to defend it. You're going to have to watch out for the fast followers and niche eaters, the people who basically are going to learn from what you learn. You don't have a lot of resources. It's difficult to assess how quickly it's going to adopt. And most likely you're going to be in a niche. And the problem is that an incumbent is already there in that space, and so he can come after you. The advantages that you do have is that most incumbents will think you're just insignificant. You're too small potatoes for them to deal with. So who's your competition going to be? It's going to be other startups. So it's going to be a fair fight. Your vision is unique. If you've done a good job with your business model, it's going to take time to copy. Some markets, and if you pick smaller niches, can only sustain one competitor. So you don't have to worry about other people coming after you. So you move forward. And the big thing is to think about customer 1. Get that first sale. Then worry about customer 10,000. After customer 1, then you go after the masses. You get intelligence, figure out where you're going to go on the beach. Pick your entry options. The thing is, you should have 5 to 10 customers in mind, not just put all your eggs in one basket. Soften the entry if you need to do some social media promotion or whatever. Get a foothold, diffuse inland. And so before you launch, you have 2 options. One is you can do a soft launch, and that's when you do beta testing, you do pre-sales, you do Kickstarter. The big thing though is if you do soft launch, this is about learning ahead of time, getting all the bugs out before you go after a lot of people. However, the big thing is be aware of who's actually testing your product. Like if you're just going to do friends and family, guess what? Everybody's going to say you're remarkable and amazing. That doesn't help you. You need some hard feedback. And then in terms of hard launch, that's when you go all out, the website, distributors, and everything like that. The rule of thumb is in choosing between the two, the more risk, the softer the launch. The thing is, mature products, if you're going after food or something like that, those have a lot less risk, so you would hard launch that. The Lean Sigma, like when should I go to market? Well, the Lean Sigma says go out and talk to customers, sell, sell, sell. But the question is, should you? The thing about Reese and the Lean Sigma is he was about software. That is much different. The problem is if you go to market too early and your product's not early, the first thing people are going to say once you get them interested in a product is, when can I get my hands on it? And then if you tell them, oh, it won't be out till next year, then you lose a lot of credibility. The problem is if you release your product too early and it fails, you create a black cloud around you. In certain cases, you're not going to get a second chance. On the other hand, your risk of trying to be a perfectionist and releasing too late is your competition is going to jump in. On the other hand, if you wait for perfection, it's never going to come. And so this is the game of chicken that you're playing. Where does your focus come first? Is the marketing or the product development? You don't have a lot of resources. And so by going fast, you leave yourself room to pivot or respond. So the question for you is, when do I start marketing? And so the answer is, it depends on the product. The thing is, marketing moves a lot faster than product development, and software moves faster than hardware. But the thing about software is, yes, it moves faster than hardware, but hardware is easier to test than software. Software, you need scale to get all the bugs out. And so here's a list of different factors that you should take into consideration, thinking about the cycles, how long it's going to take. And so the gaps is that customers don't like to wait more than 6 months for a product. And in most cases, it's only 3. The way I tell a real company and a bad company is I look at their website and see how much news they're releasing. When you get into trouble, guess what? You stop posting on social media and all, and then a dark cloud starts to form. Like, gee, the last time somebody posted about this company was 2016. For early sales, keep your delivery under 60 days. 45 is probably a better rule. And there's no hard and fast rules. It's your feel for your customer and what you're doing. This is real entrepreneurship, so it comes down to how well do you know your customer. If you want to see a failed startup, it's pretty simple to figure out what they do. They overpromise and underdeliver. If you find yourself slipping into that, beware. There are 4 phases you go through in entrepreneurial sales, and that's in the very beginning. It's you, the founder. You're the one who's pitching your product. Then you start to scale, and so pattern of your sales start to emerge, and you start having your staff learn it. And then you know you're really going places when you feel confident that you can pass it on to outsiders. And then the high level is when you start full up operation, you have sales quotas and things like that. And so this is a graph of how you change from your initiation phase to your execution phase. And essentially your traction point, that's what you want to get with the market. In order to validate your product, these are the types of things that you need. And a big part of validating your product is engage your customer. That means talk to them, find out how it's going, know what they do, know what it is they love about your product, and know what they don't want. And those are the things that you need to cut out and toss out. Just because you thought it was a good feature, they may not think so. The other thing about going to market is you're building a brand. And brands take years to build. And so the thing about brands is it takes a very long time to build, and it can be undone very quickly. But the point is, from the very beginning, you need to start building the brand of your company so that when you do hit that knee, you have a brand to build off of. Now, what is a brand? It's an expression of the value of your product or your enterprise. This is the promise you make to a customer. This is what they can always depend on you. This is the values that you espouse. And technically what a brand is a name, term, sign, symbol, or design. Essentially, it's your impression that you leave on the customer. The thing is, a brand doesn't take overnight. Your first step in your brand is to differentiate yourself. If you don't differentiate yourself, you're dead. That's the point of having a brand. You are unique among the noise out there. Second thing you're focusing on is relevance. How do you connect with your customer in terms of appropriateness? Then it's about esteem, the feeling that they get for your brand. Feelings take time to build up. And then finally, when you're a mature brand, then it's about knowledge. And so they know what you stand for. And that's the journey you take the customer on. Is this a good brand or a bad brand? Meaning, does this work or not? The thing is, look at the background of the pictures. You have a classic map. You've got old pieces there. This is a very classy background. And yet they use profanity, which, what would you associate with? Somebody younger, somebody hip. The point is that in terms of branding, this is inconsistent. That's the thing about a brand. You have to develop the mentality that everything counts, that every picture, color, words, or whatever have to be consistent with what you're about. That's the way you develop feelings. And so the rest of this lecture will be continued on in the next couple of sections.